Mama, what if your brand wasn't about chasing trends, but about vibes? Today, I'm sitting down with Naisha Tyler, the founder of House of Stuyvesant, and we're talking about building a brand that is aligned, authentic, and completely your own. Hey, mamas, welcome back to Mamas Building Businesses. I am really excited about the conversation today with my girl Naisha from House of Stuyvesant. Hi, Naisha.
Hey girl.
Thank you so much for being here. So, I feel like we have to give a little backstory about our friendship because we have been business besties for a long time.
Yes, yes. I did not realize how long, but yes.
Yeah, I think almost a decade, like at least 8 or 9
Wow.
years.
Wow.
And we have really just been friends and been having business conversations, I think since the day we met.
I know. From jump.
Literally, literally. So I have shared a lot on this channel that even when I worked in corporate, that I had a lot of side hustles because I've been a single mom for so long. So guys, I actually bartended. Naisha's husband used to own a bar and I bartended there on the weekends. And
Oh,
so we would just yap about our goals, our dreams, our thoughts, our ideas. Um, Okay, so you have House of Stuyvesant, which is an incredible brand that you have really curated to be super aligned with who you are as a person. So tell me a little bit about how that came to be.
yes. First of all, you also yapped and made really good drinks. Let's just put that in there as well. We have to add that in there. Yes, so House of Stuyvesant. Oh gosh. I started House of Stuyvesant 5 years ago. House of Stuyvesant will be five November 27th, which is also my birthday. I launched the website on my birthday as a treat to myself. And the curation was just, again, who I am. I love a neutral. I love a wood. I love a brass. I love a leather. I love all of these things. And I wanted something to really, really represent me, my roots, all of the things. And at the moment, I feel like everybody was starting a business because it was COVID. And it really was out of a necessity to fill a void. My daughter graduated 2019 and left me and moved to Brooklyn to live with her dad and to really start her own career. And I just felt like, what do I do now? Newly engaged and becoming this other person and not being mom, at least in the 24/7 capacity. She's 2 hours away. And so House of Stuyvesant started as home decor, all things, decorative pillows, faces, picture frames, little trinket catch-all dishes, and it was all neutral chic, which is what I love. And it morphed into the decor and the jewelry.
I have the
Because
earring. I have House of
I have
Stuyvesant earrings
earrings
on right
on.
now. They're some of my favorite. It's just
It's
my
so
hair's really
exciting.
dark. I should have pulled
I
it.
too am wearing my little babies, my little jute and wood babies. But it morphed into curating jewelry, which I was purchasing from other small businesses who I just thought they had really, really dope stuff. And what ended up happening is I was looking for something else and I just wasn't finding it. And the earrings were selling out. And so I met someone that was like, why don't you just make your own? And I'm like, I don't make, and she's like, if I can do it, you can do it. God bless her. She DM'd me tools and all of these places to get things. And I was just like, okay. And so I started with staining wood pieces that I would buy in bulk and finding different earring findings all over and just sort of sitting down and putting together what I wanted and loved it. The feedback was great. And it was just like, it's this wood, it's this golden oak, it's this dark walnut, it's, shifting with the seasons. And folks just were like, this is dope. We love it. We love the aesthetic of it. And I wear what I make. And so I'm wearing it well enough for somebody to say, where did you get that from? Houseofstuyvesant.com. So it really has been 5 years of me morphing into this empty nester, if you will,
Mhm.
and then small business owner, for the second time. I had a previous service-based business, but small business owner that is taking this creativity, this creative outlet, and sharing it with the world and not needing to charge $500 for a pair of earrings, but like very decent priced, small, affordable luxury, if you will. So that's how it started. And I feel like with this year, this 5 year mark, oh, it's some good stuff coming. It's some good stuff coming.
I can only imagine because you are incredible and you were just like a very laid back, like elevated chic person. That's like who you are as a person. And And so you have really just stuck to that. I mean, I was telling you a little bit before we started recording that, my goal in all of these conversations is like, what is the it factor that this mama
Right.
has that made me want to interview her, right? And for you, it is definitely that you have not deviated at all. And I think that a lot of times in business, we can allow that to happen and not
Yeah.
even intentionally, right? So like
Right. Yeah.
there have been times I know that we've had conversations where you'll get an idea or you'll see something or maybe somebody will recommend something
Mhm.
and instantly it's like, "Oh, this idea is so cool and this would sell so well." And then you instantly will reel something back and be like, "You know what? It's really not aligned with me and my brand." And
Yep.
you'll be like, "No." Like you are like the queen of like, "Nope, it doesn't align with me." So, how have you been able to stay so focused in that way? Because I think a lot of people get shiny object syndrome and sort of deviate from the plan. And you don't. I mean, you are like very steadfast in who you are and what your brand is.
I don't like shiny things. I like a nice wooden piece of something. I love brass, but it's a natural material, and so it doesn't shiny distract me. It shiny calms me, you know? And so I think in staying true to House of Stuyvesant, it really is me. Like there is no other way to say it. I grew up in Brooklyn. I grew up in bed-stuy. I grew up around a lot of brownstones. Hence my first business name, which was Brownstone Closets. I was doing professional organizing, which was a really good business as well. But I grew up in, 80s, 90s, were my formative years, teenager, a young woman, and I saw a lot of very chic classic. In addition to like growing up on rap music, on hip hop in New York City, right? So there's like, The Village, and then there was like DKNY. Donna Karen was big back then, So it's a lot of these things that have stuck with me from growing up and seeing celebrities in like the Village, and so just where you're like, oh my God, very Lisa Bonet, right? Think very like that whole era of just very, I would like to say the 90s were sim simplistic. Is simplistic a word? Simplistic is a word.
Simplistic.
But very natural and just easy. Like if we think about celebrities back then, and how they were so themselves and like very natural. And so a lot of that is me. It has stayed with me. Um, I think that when I do get an idea of something, I reel myself back in because it just doesn't feel good. I've been asked so many times, do you do this? Do you do that? And it's like, no, I don't. And I'm okay with that because I can then recommend another small business owner who does it. Try my girl so and so, try so and so. I'm not afraid of that. I never want to feel like I have to be all things to everybody because I'm not all things to
Mhm.
everybody.
And it
And
doesn't feel good.
it doesn't. It doesn't feel good. And a lot of times I will want to embellish very simple, like I did, and I do a mini holiday collection of ornaments. And a lot of times I want to throw in, maybe just one little gold little or one little, and I'm like, when I do a sample of it, I hate it. Trash. And other people are like, that is so nice. I think I put gold foil on something. And I was like, oh my God, that is so nice. And I'm just looking at it like, this is busy. I hate it. And so it doesn't go out because I don't feel good trying to sell it. You know what I mean? I'm not putting that on my Christmas tree. So why would I want you to put it on yours? Now, these very simple hand stained ones here that I did with the little jute, these that can go. So it's really about that internal feeling. And I don't need to force being true to myself. Like I wake up and I know what I like and I know what I don't like. And I know that the brand will only be what it's supposed to be because of that, if that makes any sense.
It does.
Um,
And being authentic, right? And building that
yes.
authentic brand.
Mhm.
And so many times, I don't even think that we necessarily feel, or most people feel like, oh, I'm not being authentic. But it's
Mhm.
like the comparison thing, especially with social media. Like you see
Okay.
somebody doing something that works for them, and you're like, oh, maybe it could work for me too. But you're not them. Like that's not who you
Right.
are. And I also think that the power in what you have built with such a true, authentic brand is you have a very loyal following. Like, very, very loyal following. Like, people who come, I mean, I have been with you at in-person events, and people will literally be like, oh, I drove an hour because I thought you were going to be here, or I saw that you said you were going to be here. And, like, that's the other part of what you've done. So, you're from Brooklyn, you
Mhm.
live in Philly, and you sell online and through social media, but you also sell at like in-person events and corporate events and vendor shows and what it has it been like to be able to really also not only curate your products, but curate like close personal relationships with your customers.
Oh, that I honestly, outside of the money, I think that is the perk. I think that's the highlight. You get to you get to meet people and or right the people that you already know, the people who've known you pre House of Stuyvesant get to come out and be like, ooh, 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 you know. Recently, here in Mount Airy, I did supper sessions, and someone that I worked with came up to my booth and was like, I saw you at the gallery, your stuff in the gallery. And she's like, you always said you were going to do something like this. So that is like the best thing, right? Or I did another event in the spring in Chestnut Hill, and I'm on one side of the street. These two women are on the other side of the street. They're going that way. And there are people at my booth. They're purchasing and they're looking and they're in the mirror and they're ooh and ah. And it's like this vision of like, I was just zoning in on this woman and she had none of her earrings, right? So I go, excuse me. And I come from around and I go across the street and I'm like, Miss, where did you get your earrings from? And she was like, oh my God, you were like the third or fourth person that stopped me about these earrings. She was like, I love them so much. I got them from, and there's a no name gallery in Chestnut Hill. Shout out to Johnny, where House of Stuyvesant pieces are. And I was like, those are my earrings. I made those. And she was like, oh my, and we're hugging in the middle of the street. Mind you, I've got customers at the booth and everybody's looking at her like, and so she walks over with her girlfriend and the people at the booth are, are looking and she's like, oh my God. And I'm like, can I take a picture? And they were like, wait a minute, those aren't on the table. I'm like, I can make them for you. I'll make them for you. So we start to talk. People are purchasing. She ends up buying like two more pairs of earrings. Her girlfriend ends up buying like three pairs of earrings. Like it felt so good in that moment to be like, this woman was at someplace else that I wasn't and bought these earrings. And I spotted her in the street at
Yeah.
another at a festival. So it's those connections. She comes to Clover Market, which was the beginning of October, I think I did. And she comes with her husband and she's like, this is her. And she's like pointing and we're hugging again. And I'm like, oh my God. And she's like, you remember me? I'm like, your picture is on my cell phone. Yes, I remember you. So it is definitely for that woman, right? And it is definitely for, I hate saying the everyday woman, because it's for people like me that like what I like.
Hmm.
That's it. And the simplicity of the brand holds true that your earrings can be the accessories. It can be just white shirt and some really cute, simple black shirt and some really cute,
Really
simple.
cute, simple earrings.
And I think that I feel really blessed to be able to just like people come up to me and hug me. I like what I love that. Like I am a people person, never been an introvert. I love to talk about all things business and I love to talk about things like clothes and shoes and earrings. So a lot of times that's the conversation circling House of Stuyvesant. And people will come and be like, "You probably will remember me." And I'll be like, "I was at Johnson and Johnson. You came downstairs. You bought those earrings for your aunt." And they'll be like, "I did." And I'm like, "Auntie liked those earrings." And they'll be like, "She did." So, and people will come to me and they will check me. Like, "You didn't do the earrings that you said you were going to do. I saw." And I'm like, "I know." So people, it's like it's a tribe. That's what I've called it. They're my tribe. And they've kept me going for 5 years. They're opening emails, newsletters, they're signing up. And, for the unsubscribers,
They're not
they
your people.
realize it, right. They're not, and that's okay too. So I really feel like, that is the perk to build a community. And the money's great for that, for the business, but it's also like that people will come up to me and be like, "I saw you in this store," or "So and so posted you." And you're like, "Thanks, that's dope." You know what I mean? I haven't got to where people were like, "Can I take a picture?"
They will, and they will.
I don't know if I even want that. I just be like, "Girl, you take a picture of me." But I love I don't think it's attention. I think it's just community. It's community. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
and the power, I mean, really the power of that, which comes from building the authentic brand, is, I'm a big believer that God created us for connection. Like we are meant to connect with people.
Oh, yes.
And and when you have an authentic brand like you do, it really attracts the people who are meant for you, and it
Absolutely.
separates the people who aren't, and that's fine because everything isn't meant for everybody. But it's like you are connecting with people who are meant for you to connect with, and
Absolutely.
and so it brings that authentic connection. I feel like I keep using that word, but it's so
No, but
powerful.
yeah, absolutely. And I think that with that, you don't need to go searching, right? I've never been a chaser. I'm not chasing the crowd. I'm not chasing friends. I'm not chasing no man. I've never been, if it's for me, it happens organically. And everybody who's with me now, like my relationships have been long, really,
Mhm.
we're people who are fully aware of themselves, they know who they are, and we just connect. And so friendships that are their family, you know what I mean? And I think that authenticity from both ends, you being who you are, right? And me being attracted to that, vice versa, but also being able to be really vulnerable. And, a lot of times I don't post a lot, which I need to change. I say that every time. I need to change that. But I think that when I do post, I'm not thinking twice anymore about it. It's like, hey, this is me. This is it. This is whatever. And, not to say I don't care, but I don't. If you can vibe with it, you will. If you don't, I'm good with that.
Well, and that is the power. Like, I mean, our friendship is a testament to the power of genuine relationships
Yeah,
because I
absolutely.
mean, guys, a little backstory about how amazing this woman is when I opened my first brick and mortar business pre-COVID, I opened a lash bar in Philly, and her and her husband. So I decided I was going to do it was like in a neighborhood that was like not a neighborhood that I was from. So the people all lived there a long time. And so I did a grand opening cookout essentially for the neighborhood so that I could sort of introduce myself to this neighborhood. And Naisha and her husband Bill, they came. This woman, first of all, she styled my whole lash bar. She styled my products. She styled the shelves. Her husband manned the grill. He cooked all the
Good.
food. I mean, like real, genuine friendships. And because that is who you are, that is ultimately what you attract into your life. You know what I mean? And I think that is really, it's so powerful. Like because that is what my circle is too. Obviously, you're included in that. But it's like, we know we get busy. We know we have 100 things going on. We know we have grown children we have to go visit because
Yep.
if we don't go when they call, we might not ever see because they have their own schedule, they have their own things. We have businesses that we're running. And so, you don't have to speak every day. It's not a needy kind of friendship, but you can bet
No.
your behind if
Right.
you pick up the phone and you need to
Right.
vent or you need some encouragement or
Come on
you
now.
have an event,
Mhm.
like we show up. We show up for each other. And
Like when you popped up on me, what was that, Westchester?
oh
And
yeah,
you
and I
came,
didn't
you were
even
coming
tell you I
behind
was
the
coming.
table. I'm like, who is this coming behind my table? I think you had your sunglasses on. And
I
then you
probably
kind of
did.
like, and I was like, oh
I
my.
know. I told myself I drove like, I think I had driven like 2 hours to come to that.
You did.
And I was like, part of me wanted to tell you so bad so that we could like make a plan to spend the day together. But I'm
Which
like,
we did anyway.
which we did anyway.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, I just want to surprise her. I just want to pop up. Um,
We
so
spent the
okay,
whole day together that day,
we
actually.
did.
We
And it
did.
involved lots of margaritas.
It did. We didn't miss a beat. That was good. That was a good day.
Um, okay, so a lot of your pieces are hand selected and even a lot of them are handmade, right? So tell me a little bit about like what that creative process looks like and how you balance the creative part with like the operational part of business because
That's a real good question right there.
yeah. Yeah.
I will say, full transparency, I'm still learning about the behind the scenes stuff, right? What I will say is that having someone to maybe not do like your numbers part of it, but that you can sit with that can like go through things with you. I'm one of those people where I actually want to do it and I need to retain like, how to do it, the process. So having somebody like that in my corner for like the behind the scenes stuff, which really is the important part, money wise. But other than that, the inventory maintenance and like, just the everyday of social media, newsletters, subscriptions, making sure Canva's paid, making sure Shopify's money is there, that type of stuff. I do that. And I think that with a background in like the 9 to 5-ish world of administrative support, which I've done my whole career, I'm used to keeping somebody organized and keeping their calendar. So a lot of times that stuff is automatic and it's a blessing for your Shopify to come out of your bank account automatically and not be worried about the money. That is a blessing. And I don't take that lightly. So those are things that, I'm on with customer service if something isn't working. I do not schedule a lot of this. A lot of times, if something is automatic, an email will pop up, and that's kind of like my reminder. I'm not sitting down like every Monday, I'm going to do this, every Friday, I'm going to do that.
Mm.
That is probably going to change because although I've been able to work and be somewhat successful with that, I realize that having those things scheduled, and crazy because I used to. So it's like you fall off a little bit and you have to get back on it. Um, so that will for 2026, absolutely. The creative part of it, I don't know that there is a balance to it because I get little glimpses everywhere. And so I'm a Pinterest junkie. I love Pinterest. As noisy it can be with ads, I don't care. It's not people and their opinions on there, so I can scroll for days. And my personal Pinterest is like, it is really fly. It's some good stuff on there. My business Pinterest is getting a remake, but um, I see so many things on there from art, home decor, in the music, I was listening to D'Angelo, that rocked me. But I was listening to him and then thinking back, like when this album came back and what people were wearing, and then being very moved by like a challenge I did over the summer and using leather. I have so much leather here that I'm like, I've just been really inspired by everything all the time. It never ends. You know what I mean? Like I'm looking at you and I'm looking at your hair and I'm like, I feel like I have some leather. Even when we were talking before, and I'm like, I do. And I'm like, oh my God, I can make whatever. So the creativity, it's just ongoing. Now, when I see pieces and sit down and say, I'm going to purchase this and this, 9 times out of 10, those two pieces don't go together once I get them in the house, and
Mhm.
I'm in my studio. So I'm looking at something else I have, or I may stain it black instead of brown, and then it's like, oh, girl,
Yep.
and then usually it comes together. I put them on. My hair could be raggedy. I could look a mess, and I'm in that mirror. There's a twerk or two that happens because I feel it. And then it's like, if the twerk happens, that's it. That's the earring that needs to happen. If I'm just like, it doesn't go out.
I
So
feel like I need like a little 90s New York hip hop to play so that people can see you
listen,
like fully in your element in the
listen, it
video.
is definitely real, like New York City. I always say Brooklyn first, but there's some queens like rap, like there's so many artists to my playlist. I'm actually gonna I had a playlist on the website. I'm gonna add it back and I'm gonna add volumes because there's the music that goes on in here is absolutely like why and House of Stuyvesant is what it is. And I mean it's everything. Anita Baker. It's all the greats
Yeah.
and then some. You know what I mean? So creating the balance. There's a lot of pieces to it, but I would say that one thing that I've been saying to myself a lot more is one, God, I leave my business at your feet, right? Because He's
Mhm.
guiding me on what to do. And easy. It's got to be easy. I don't want 17 steps to do and to create. I want to purchase, I want to sit, I want to be like, oh, and I want it done. And I want it ready for the tribe. I wear stuff sometimes for a while before I put it out there because I want to get a feel. And, people are like, those are cute. And I'm like, thank you. Just get it. And so I always want to maintain that. There's no rush. This business isn't a rushed through. I'm just not interested in that. I'm just
Yeah.
not interested in that. So I would say the balance of it is tightening up, just for the sake of my sanity. But I want to keep that flow and I want to keep that inspiration the way that it's been happening because I think that also leads to the authenticity of it all.
Yeah, and it's so much easier like as a we're you and I are both creative but in very different ways. I think we both have different creative strengths, but it's so much easier to stay in that like flowy, creative, inspired when you like, yes, you take action. Yes, we work hard, but allowing ourselves to like be playful with it, try something. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Like, as soon as you add a lot of pressure, it's really hard to stay inspired and stay in that like creative mind space.
Absolutely. And unfortunately, a lot of that pressure you put on yourself
Hmm.
because basically what you were saying earlier, or we were talking about, is when you're looking at other people and what they're doing, and then you're like, ooh, 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 ooh. And it's like, no, be inspired. Say that person is dope. Like, comment, share, if you will. Do all of that, but then stay to yourself. I feel like um I'm not interested in House of Stuyvesant looking like, oh, so and so. Like, I just don't want that. And, being a company of one, for the most part, I enjoy it. I don't want to necessarily have to hire an art director. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I don't necessarily feel the need to do that. I think that where the brand is, it feels good. And as I experiment with different, medium materials, different like that, different things like that, it'll shift, you know. Maybe this collection is heavy on, like I said, leather, or this collection is heavy on brass, or this collection is heavy on more jute and like real raw natural. It's just the feeling of it. It's the seasons. All of that. It helps me sleep well because I'm pulling from, ooh, this is what I like. Like this summer, I
Hmm.
wore a lot of wood pieces, a lot of, and my hair was a little bit longer, so I was kind of putting it back so you could see it. But then, with blow, people like, oh, those are cute. And I'm like, I don't have to do, I'm just gonna just be, whether it's natural, curly, just froey, like whatever it is. And so, believe it or not, that's how I sell.
Yeah.
Showing up this particular way, knowing what earrings to go with this outfit, and just people are like, what are you wearing? I'm like, oh, those are these. Oh, I say Clover Market. This girl comes in, she's looking, and she's like, I don't know which ones to get. And I'm like, well, I'm wearing these. And she was like, and she goes, can I try them on? And I'm like, all right, like I'll have a wipe, if I'm gonna wipe it down after, just try not to be like, no, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So she tries them on. The rest is history, everybody. She was like, oh my God, I'm wearing these right now. I'm like, oh my God, you look so nice. So it's that for me. Like you thought this, you stained this wood, you designed these pieces. Somebody loves them and they're wearing them.
Yeah. It's like when you are that aligned, it is like everything you do just gives you more energy. Like you don't get that like burnt out feel. You know what I mean? It's just we were talking about like the YouTube just before we started recording and how much content I'm pumping out, which is really crazy because I have historically not been great at being consistent with content because I definitely was somebody for the last 10 years who probably would not have been on social media if I had not had a business. Like
Hmm.
I I really I mean maybe for entertainment, but as far as like putting myself out there, I really value like personal connections, which, you know, to an extent this especially since COVID has become like our new personal connection, right? Is like virtual meetings, but just the way that I'm pumping out content, and it's because I'm so aligned. Like I enjoy so much talking to moms, and I mean I've always been passionate about talking about business, and like when you combine those, for me, when you combine those two things, like just being a champion of moms and a champion of business, and it's like I can do 3 interviews or YouTube videos back to back because every one just like energizes me more. I don't feel tired. I don't feel burnt out because I'm excited and it's so aligned. And so that's what I hear when you talk about, being able to make your products because it is so aligned with you.
Yeah. And I think that I met a gentleman, actually a couple, there in Jersey, and I need to get back in touch with them to the wood pieces, like to actually make them in bulk for me. Different designs, different shapes that I just dream of, like, oh, that would be so dope with this or whatever. But it's fun. And I don't ever want it to not be fun. And I was saying that to you earlier. Like you were talking and it was just like this, oh, and I was like, she is so excited behind this. Because when you were talking, it's like, girl, get it. You were like, because then I'll have this and I'm gonna be doing. I'm like, this is what I think it means to be obedient and, like you said, alignment, but to be obedient in what God is telling you to do, do it.
Mm,
Do it and do it quick.
clock it.
Do it and do it quick, right? So I think that it's what that means. Because you're supposed to create and release and repeat. Like
Hmm.
that is what you're supposed to do. Um, I don't always release. always release. Some things don't need to be out in the world because it's just like, y'all ain't gonna be like, what is this? But I think that it definitely feels right to create, release, repeat, when, like you said, when you're in alignment. And there's no time frame on it, right? Um,
Hmm.
my girl, Sade, like I die hard. She is the example of create, release, repeat when that music and those lyrics are right. You know what I mean? She's not putting out something every summer. This woman has gone decades without new music. And when it comes out, we're all like, girl, you know what I mean? How
Right, it
about the
hit home.
album that she's in heavy rotation every single day, that I'm listening to this woman. And it's the formula, what her lyrics are. It's very repetitive. It's just who Sade, the singer, the band that comes with her, the musicians that have been with her, where it's like, the reinventing doesn't need to happen per se because she's staying true to who she is.
Yeah.
Gracefully, might I add, So I think that yeah, I've never even in personal life, I've just never been concerned with whatever else was going on. Like I'm over here doing this.
Yeah. And the being obedient part is it's funny because I had a conversation with somebody yesterday and we were talking about mamas building businesses and I've been sitting on this idea for like a year and a half. I mean, a year and a half ago I knew I was supposed to do this and
Hmm.
I allowed a lot of things to make me procrastinate. I was worrying about it being perfect. I was worried about like what if it fails. I was using excuses about other stuff I had on my plate. And when I kind of got sick of my own crap, which was like, if you look back, whatever the first video was I posted the day before that, I was like, you know what? You're going to sit down, you're going to record today. I record on Zoom. Even when I record myself, I record on Zoom. There is nothing fancy going on over here. And I was like, you're going to record today and you're going to put it out tomorrow because, like, I just knew on my heart, like, this was what I was supposed to do. And I was sharing with you, like, the feedback that I've gotten. We still have a small audience, what people would consider a very small audience, but the feedback that has come out of that has been nothing but inspiration. I'm sorry, confirmation has been nothing but confirmation about what I'm doing. And so that means the last couple weeks, I had to, without beating myself up too bad, be like, it's amazing what happens when you are obedient. Like when something is put on your heart, it's there for a reason. And
Yep.
and I'm like, where would I be at today if I had done it a year and a half ago? But it is what it is. I'm doing it now.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
obedience is so big. So on that note, for the mama who's watching, who feels like they, number one, have something on their heart they want to do, but two, they are looking at all of the people who are doing things somewhat similar online that are maybe a little bit different than they would do it, but have massive success, and it's keeping them stuck from taking the next step. What is one piece of advice that you would give them?
Girl, you better get it. Like, do it. Like, do it. Do it. Just it really is that simple. And if it's jewelry, you know, if it's jewelry that you even if you're curating, right? You're purchasing jewelry. You're not making it, you're not designing it. And you feel you have a great eye for whatever style. Do it. Just do it. I think that there's so much to be said, and not to be, cliche about it, because you hear this stuff over and over again, but it's like a small step is a step, and
Hmm.
a bunch of small steps add up to a really big step. So I think it's just do it. Do it, start it, let it be ugly, let it have imperfections. My website still has imperfections on it. And I usually get on and tweak, like I just tweak. You know, everybody looks like they have it together, and they don't. They don't. The biggest of companies don't. Within their different departments, there's glitches and there's things. So my advice is really just do it. I don't think you should be half-ass about it, but I
Hmm.
think that you should absolutely um, do it and have some sort of focus. Have some sort of focus, and just let it roll, because it's much easier than I feel like it's much easier than what the masses, if you will say that it is. Oh, it's so hard, so hard. Mm-mm. Not if you do it your way. Not if you do it your way.
Okay, so I don't normally do this, but I'm going to ask a second part to this question because of something you said, because you
Okay.
brought up jewelry and you do jewelry. And I think that a lot of times people are like, I have this idea. I have this thing on my heart. I have this thing that I'm really good at. I really enjoy, but the market's too saturated.
Wow.
What would you say to that person?
Ciao, bye, like I just said. Um, I was at an event, and a really good small business friend of mine sells jewelry, and hers is a lot more colorful than mine. She curates, really special beads and things from all over the world. And we were sending people back and forth to each other. Like we were just like, I did another event. There was a young lady there who had just started, right? And she comes over and she's like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And she's like, where do you get this from? And I'm just giving her all of the things, because we will have the same 20 different pieces of earring findings and create totally different designs. And so for me, the oversaturation, again, super cliche. I've seen this everywhere. How many loaves of bread do you see in the supermarket? You see Pepperidge Farm. You see all of these different companies that make the same potato bread, but I only eat like two different brands because that's what I like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Somebody else might eat the other two because that's what they like. So that to me is, I don't know. And then there's some people who will start out when you start out, and they won't be there when you're still there, because they'll feel like maybe they weren't aligned with the jewelry business. Maybe they're supposed to be doing hair or whatever. Um, yeah, I just don't think that it exists for me. So my advice to said person would be, that doesn't exist. Do you, please?
Well, and the power of authenticity, right? Because if you're truly authentic to yourself, you're not creating the same jewelry that somebody else is creating.
Right.
It has your spin on it. Like
Absolutely.
you specifically, your jewelry is very, very unique.
Thank you.
And it's it's amazing. You're amazing. So
You're
I
amazing.
appreciate you so much. And for everybody listening, I will put all of the stuff in the description so you can follow Naisha. You can check out House of Stuyvesant. You can buy beautiful, chic, neutral, stylish earrings and home decor and all of the things that she has. And what I will tell you about House of Stuyvesant is because it is hand curated and because it is handmade, if you see it and you like it, it is like TJ Maxx, honey. You have got to buy it because you
Gotta
might
buy
not, it might not get restocked once it sells
it.
out.
You gotta buy it immediately.
You got to
Some
get it
stuff
when
is,
you see it
yeah, some stuff
because
is, yeah.
I I've made that mistake a few times. So all of that information will be in the description. Naisha, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Awesome.
I
And for the
appreciate it.
mamas, if you are enjoying these conversations, like, subscribe, and we'll be back with more.